Nowadays, hip-hop media is run by this.
It's Drake, 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 Drake.
The problem with names like these is that they have centered everything around drama and clickbait news. From instigating rap beefs to blowing scandals out of proportion, these people and outlets have forgotten to talk about what actually matters in a music genre, the music. From here, this will change. Welcome to the Fantastic Hip Hop Show, a series dedicated to documenting the beauty of the genre we all know and love. Welcome to the second episode of this series, where today we have an absolutely amazing show planned for you all. First off, we're going to be recapping the entire month of October in hip-hop, reviewing every major album that came out, looking at the best rapper from this time period, and we're also going to look at the best verse from this month. In addition, we will be looking at the best rap songs that have dropped in each month this year, along with a lot else, including a story of how I was able to FaceTime the one, the only, Nardwuar.
Tyler, it's me, Nardwuar. I have a gift for you, finally. One more gift.
This.
One more gift.
What is it?
It is Twink.
Yeah, boyfriend. Yeah,
Yeah, that Nardwuar. I had the pleasure of speaking to him earlier this week, and I'm going to tell you all about it later in this video. Let's waste no more time and let's get right into it. Despite the continuous amounts of hype he's been getting, Lil Baby's newest album, It's Only Me, was not good. While songs like The Bigger Picture and features on tracks like Kanye's Hurricane and Drake's Wants and Needs may have led us to believe that the Atlanta star was going to take the next step forward in becoming a more defined artist, looking at this record top to bottom, it's really just more of the same, just without the spice that made moments on albums like Harder Than Ever and My Turn so memorable. Track after track, the energy just gets lower and lower on this album, and with 23 songs and over an hour's worth of material of this formula, the record is not just rancidly bad, but it's a legitimate chore to listen to, and I did feel dumber after going through an overabundance of Baby's whiny autotune and awful beat selection, which just consists of the shittiest and most basic trap instrumentals you can ever think of. Pretty much, once you heard one song on this album, you have heard the entire thing, and this is why It's Only Me is not just one of the worst albums of the year, but it is the textbook definition of what is going wrong with album making in our current musical climate, and that's why I've given it a score of a 2.5 out of 10. UK hip-hop artist and rage music titan Lancey Fox's newest project, Life in Hell, feels like a failed attempt at showcasing his innovative style anywhere near the level of potential it can truly be at. Through 22 songs, this project is a mess, lacking any sense of focus, and this makes it feel like a storm of loose and unhinged creativity as opposed to something much more calculated and comprehensible. The creative framework of this project is there, but the over-exuberant and over-edited vocals often lead to a lot of the songs feeling way too choppy to vibe out to, and with the strange production choices buffering the flow of the generally well-done spacey atmosphere, there is no momentum that is ever truly built up. While this record shows off so much raw and untapped potential, it is way too messy for me to give it a score higher than a 3.9 out of 10. When it comes to crossover albums, I would have never thought that NBA YoungBoy would get DJ Drama to host one of his projects, but for his newest record, My Got a Family, he does just this, and in this album, the Bay and Rogue rapper delivers an experience that's really just like his others, just with DJ Drama's epic voice narrating from track to track. Outside of Drama's contributions to this record, the project is actually one of YoungBoy's better projects period, with him going in a much more tame direction, with soft and smooth trap cuts that push him to minimize his over-the-top vicious energy and focus on his capabilities as a vocalist instead. While YoungBoy's exerted vocals get way too whiny at times and his writing lacks any sort of competent ideas, the musical environment he creates is much more thought out than on his other projects, and this creates for a much more enjoyable experience. Even with all of this, the record is still way too long with 19 tracks, and with all of the holes that YoungBoy forgets to close up in his rushed creative process, there are many aspects of this LP that definitely needed fine-tuning. Walking away from My Got a Family, I'm left saying that if YoungBoy understood the concept of quality control, along with spending more time to craft these raw experiences into fine pieces of work, this could be a fairly good record, but until then, the bar for all of his projects will remain near the floor. For all of these reasons, I'll be giving My Got a Family a 4 out of 10, which is pretty decent for a YoungBoy record. This is definitely one of his more enjoyable projects this year. Teaming up with the one and only Snoop Dogg for another Gangsta Grillz record, Snoop Dogg and DJ Drama's I Still Got It should be a fiery mixtape filled with Snoop's rawest material in years, but it fails to capture this in its entirety. Through 13 tracks that stay only for 37 minutes, Snoop teases us with some of his most inspired cuts in years, but he's quick to cut this short with straight out head scratchers that should have never made it past the cutting room floor. Hearing Snoop in the raw, lawless environment that is a Gangsta Grillz project is a great thing on bangers like the Dave East and Corrupt collab I'll Holla Back and Lit with Daz Dillinger, so it makes no sense why there's so many moments of low energy from both Snoop and collaborators like October London and Steady Hendrix. While this tape does come with its fair share of highs, Snoop Dogg definitely could have done a better job capturing at what him and Drama do best together, and for these reasons, I will be giving I Still Got It a score of a 4.3 out of 10. When it comes to creatives within the rap game right now, there is none doing it quite like Babytron. From his unorthodox beat selection to his wordplay-heavy lyrical style, everything about Babytron is one of a kind, and this has allowed for him to carve out a pretty dedicated following. While the 22-year-old rapper has gained quite some traction through releases like Megatron and Lucatronchick, it's his third entry in his Bin Reaper series that has sold me on what his creative value can bring to a full-length experience. In a day and age where so many rappers are riding already washed-up waves, Babytron is a breath of fresh air to the rap game, and with this many projects under his belt, he now understands how to play to his strengths and entertain us solely through them. While even at 40 minutes and 15 tracks, this exciting but redundant style can feel dragged out, at its peak, hearing Babytron's brash vocals and constant quotables is just flat out fun. Where I think Babytron really finds his stride here is in terms of beat selection, as he just knows how to pick the right instrumentals for what he's trying to do. Whether the loop he is using is derived from a vocal sample or a drum-heavy trap beat, these loops turn Babytron's lyrical skill into quality musical entertainment, and for these reasons, I've given Bin Reaper 3 The Old Testament a 6 out of 10. Teaming back up with DJ Drama, trap pioneer and hip-hop legend Jeezy has given us another solid record with Snowfall. What I love about this tape is that we see Jeezy rapping over modern trap beats with the same drum patterns and instrumental textures you would expect from the subgenre, but they're layered in a way that gives off the most triumphant feel possible. It's just so badass hearing Jeezy tear up these type of beats, and on top of that, having the legendary DJ Drama add to this experience with his one-of-a-kind commentary just heightens the stakes of the record even more. Well, I don't know if I needed 17 tracks of this. Hearing Jeezy and DJ Drama together is a real treat, and Snowfall is another sentiment to that. For all of these reasons, I have given this record a 6.5 out of 10. Throughout 2022, underground titan Your Old Droog has stayed consistent, giving us a series of EPs throughout the year, and his most recent, The Yodfather, is another showcase of the Dump God members' greatness. In just 7 tracks, Drew continues to entertain us with his cutting-edge ear for soul sample beats, and he continues what seems like his never-ending lyrical fire, which showcases his top-notch skill, one-of-a-kind wittiness, and he also sprinkles in some strong bits of knowledge and personal reflection in the process. For a 7-song project that is less than 15 minutes, and 4 of those 7 tracks are literally freestyles, Drew earns another respectful score of a 6.6 out of 10. Releasing a 25-track album with over an hour's worth of material, Chicago rapper G Herbo gave us one of his most ambitious projects yet with Survivor's Remorse, and while the length of this record is definitely its biggest plague, it's overall a really good body of work filled with a long list of memorable moments. G Herbo really shows how versatile of an artist he is as he collaborates with names on this record ranging from Jeremiah to Benny the Butcher. Through nearly the entirety of this project, Herbo plays to his collaborator's strengths, but manages to stay true to his identity, and this is what connects the record in such a powerful fashion. While the collaborations on this record are used to add flair, the solo cuts steal the show here, as Herbo bleeds out his heart on songs, and this creates a handful of tracks that are both intense and gut-wrenching. While in terms of making an impact with this experience, Herbo could have condensed the record down to better direct the power of his pain-filled lyrics and subject matter, Survivor's Remorse is a strong addition to Herbo's underappreciated catalog, and that's why I've given it a score of a 6.6 out of 10. Shmino's long-awaited third studio album, Love for Rent, is another fascinating journey into one of the most beautiful vocalists in hip-hop's world, and while this record is filled with some of the most vibrant material the genre has seen all year, it seems like Shmino has plateaued as an artist. While this isn't a bad record by any means, it feels extremely malnourished, lacking any sort of potent themes, while also feeling relatively bare bones in terms of songwriting and structure. Still, even with Love for Rent's shortcomings, Smino's serenading vocals and the sunny production he's always rapping over are still enough to make this a formidable experience, and one I'm giving a 6.7 out of 10. Before we get into this review, I would like to take a moment of silence for a rapper who changed the culture and was a true icon of our time, Takeoff. Now we will be looking at Takeoff's collab album with his uncle and Migos running mate Quavo, only built for Infinity Links. As soon as I saw the duo got the legendary Raekwon's blessing for the album title, as it's obviously paying homage to 1995's Only Built for Cuban Links, and on top of this, the cover also pays tribute to Outkast's legendary Stankonia, I immediately had hope that this record would be better than Migos' last two albums, Culture 2 and Culture 3, which did hit under the belt for me. The experience Unk and Few put together offers an entirely different dynamic, as Offset is nowhere to be found, and it was super enjoyable to get just Quavo and Takeoff playing off each other in a way that allows for both artists to shine more than ever after Offset was the member in the spotlight in the post-Culture 1 era for Migos. The way Quavo's larger-than-life persona meshes with Takeoff's down-to-business demeanor works so well through their lifelong chemistry that they've developed, and even with the change in dynamic between the duo, they're really not doing anything new. They've just created a more focused and better executed version of their classic formula, and it gives us some pretty good trap cuts, and it makes for one of the best trap records of 2022 as a whole. For all of these reasons, I have given Only Built for Infinity Links a 7 out of 10. Rest in peace, Takeoff. You will be missed. Mavi's long-awaited sophomore album, Laughing So Hard It Hurts, is a beautiful experience that completely reinvents the young artist as he pushes his boundaries to the max. As opposed to the minimal haunting loops that scored the lyrical therapy sessions of his debut album, Let the Sun Talk, Mavi's style is centered around his drifting vocal cadence, which results in a wave of relaxing vibes. Even with this record's tender musical atmosphere, Mavi's heartbroken soul will face you with his struggles around self-love and loneliness. While I would have desired for the writing on this album to be a little more fleshed out, as it would have allowed for Mavi to explore his soul and pain more, this record is still a really good body of work, and that's why I've given it a score of a 7.1 out of 10. The queen of Griselda Records, Armani Caesar, finally returned to the rap scene with the sequel to her 2020 debut on the label in The Liz 2. With Westside Gunn's executive production and the lustful yet grimy soundscapes from the likes of Derringer and Camouflage Monk, Caesar manages to grow and improve as both an artist and an MC, all while keeping us super entertained throughout. From a lyrical standpoint, Caesar sounds better than ever, with her braggadocious bars working so well with her faint and smooth delivery, and she really pushes her artistry forward, singing on certain sections of this project, and her voice sounds really well developed, and this adds a level of change to the structure of these tracks that no other Griselda record or artist can offer. Although I still feel Armani has not reached her peak yet, The Liz 2 is a really fun record and another strong piece to Griselda's unmatched run in hip-hop right now, and for these reasons, I've given the record a score of a 7.1 out of 10. Duke Deuce's Memphis Massacre 3 is a real treat to listen to in today's day and age. Following in the lineage of the one-of-a-kind sound that can only be done for Memphis hip-hop, Duke shows us once again why he is one of the best to ever come out of this scene with his demon-like energy, one-of-a-kind swag, and amazing ear for hardcore beats. Duke's playful demeanor is so entertaining to consume in the different horrorcore settings we see him in, and the instrumental layering is some of the best musical world-building hip-hop has seen all year. For all of these reasons, I have given this album a 7.2 out of 10. With every project Che Noir releases, she seems to improve, and even with the 9-song and 24-minute long The Last Remnants, she manages to expand herself forward in ways that are unimaginable. Each track on this project is a remorseless and painful reflection where Noir talks about her darkest experiences and how she's moved forward despite facing these life-altering tragedies. From Che Noir's own performance to her featured guests, which include names like Benny the Butcher, Ransom, and El Camino, every featured artist on this project contributes to these themes by unraveling their own pain and letting us into their own battles to deal with what they've seen. All in all, the themes centered around pain and perseverance are so well executed on this project between Che Noir's own performance and the climatic production, which adds the most beautiful scores to each song, and for these reasons, The Last Remnants is getting a score of a 7.2 out of 10. Ending out his legendary HWH series with the 10th and final installment, Griselda Records leader and creative visionary Westside Gunn has given us another one-of-a-kind experience with 10. Between Wes's one-of-a-kind curating ability, which showcases him taking abstractly knitted instrumental loops from RZA, Swizz Beatz, Pete Rock, and Conductor Williams, while pulling verses from names like Black Star, A$AP Rocky, Run the Jewels, Ghostface Killah, Raekwon, and many more, this massive experience embodies everything that we love about Westside Gunn, the Griselda movement, and hip-hop culture as a whole, and for these reasons, I have given this album a score of a 7.3 out of 10. T Grizzly's Chapters of the Trenches is not just a creative peak for the Detroit MC, but it is also one of the most creative approaches I have seen to the hip-hop medium in quite some time. What makes this record so special is the presentation of the album. Chapters of the Trenches is a collection of stories from T. Grizzly's experience on this earth and tales from the neighborhood he grew up in, and the level of detail he goes in to depict the excruciating pain many of these chapters end with challenge you to think about and reflect on what's really going on in the world. Another factor that enhances the experience of this album is that these songs are dipped and coated in the same style of all of T. Grizzly's other music. His clashing vocals bounce off the intense trap beats, and this adds another level of authenticity to his grim storytelling. When it comes to albums with unique narrative and structure that are used to inform listeners about painful yet true stories that need to be put out into the world, there has been nothing more powerful than Chapters of the Trenches, and that's why I've given the record a score of a 7.6 out of 10. When rappers release a sequel to their career-defining records, it either screams out that their time in the limelight is running out, or that they have just been reborn artistically, and for legendary Queens MC Cormega, his newest album, The Realness 2, serves as the latter of those two principles as the 52-year-old hip-hop veteran releases his best effort in years. With production from the likes of Big Ty, The Alchemist, Large Professor, Havoc, Harry Fraud, and an array of other skilled beatmakers, Mega raps from a place of such wisdom and maturity, yet he manages to sound so hungry in the process. This record truly embodies the spirit of the old school while putting it into modern light, and did I mention the features from Nas and Lloyd Banks on this record just make the stakes even higher? For all of these reasons, I will be giving The Realness 2 a score of a 7.7 out of 10, and Nas literally raps over an Alchemist beat on this album. That should be enough to check it out in itself. Just from looking at the album cover and title, you can tell Open Mike Eagle's component system with the auto reverse is a record about bridging two sides of one life together without ever breaking the connection those two parts hold. Over the span of 14 tracks that run for 38 minutes, the revered Chicago MC bridges together this compelling tale about his past desires and present understandings, and this all comes together so seamlessly. The line that best sums up this album comes on the song Crenshaw and Homeland, where Mike says, "When I make a choice, I'm a bunch of disjointed data points," and these are the themes he spends the entire album exploring. From pondering on career choices to coping with the passing of childhood idols like MF Doom and Gang Starr's Guru, progressing through life is something that should be beautiful and transcendent, but Open Mike Eagle can't move on due to the self-regret and self-disappointment he holds. When it comes to depicting mental stagnance through gloomy production and technically profound yet softly spoken rhymes, nobody has done a more powerful job this year than Open Mike Eagle, and that's why I've given this album a 7.8 out of 10. UK rapper Loyal Carner's newest album, Hugo, is a powerful record about identity and understanding. Through 10 detailed tracks, the 28-year-old MC blows listeners away through the sheer vulnerability he displays as he explores his identity through his race and concepts such as fatherhood. Loyal depicts the various experiences he's been through in such vivid detail, and this is what allows for us to understand the pain he feels when he talks about his broken relationship with his father. Between the sheer emotion Loyal puts into this record, along with his great storytelling ability, Loyal's performance makes for one of the best on any album this year, and topping all of this off, the soundscape on this LP is one of the best produced jazz rap scores hip-hop has seen in quite some time, with production from Madlib and Quest to name a few. Analyzing this prolific study of man and the environment they grow up in, it's no wonder why this album matches Loyal's performance with perfect musical notes, and for all of these reasons, Hugo is our album of the month with a score of an 8.3 out of 10. In addition to taking the album of the month, Loyal Carner is also October's rapper of the month for the breathtaking performance he put into his album Hugo, and pulling off the first ever perfect month in the history of this show. Loyal Carner also gets the verse of the month for his second verse on the track Nobody Knows. When it comes to this verse specifically, it is both the best written on Hugo and it is the most emotionally scarring. Loyal worries that his kids will experience the same amount of racism that he did growing up, and further pouring down on this dark cloud, Loyal worries that he won't be able to be there for his kids in the same way his father wasn't there for him. It's maddeningly poetic the way Loyal depicts his family curses coming full circle, but through the fears the UKMC addresses, he's able to depict a real-world issue in a more profound manner than most artists ever have. Now, as the year is starting to wrap up, we're going to be looking at the best song that released in every single month of the year so far. So starting off with January, we have Walkin' by Denzel Curry. Now, between the track's two halves, soulful instrumental, and Denzel's razor-sharp flow, along with the track's topical depth, this is one of the best songs of the year, although we will give honorable mentions to Surround Sound by J.I.D. and Johnny P's Caddy by Benny the Butcher and J. Cole. For the month of February, we have Conway the Machine, So Much More. February was the month of God Don't Make Mistakes, so it's no doubt why the album's most heartfelt track is right here. For the month of March, we have Denzel Curry's Angels. Releasing Melt My Eyes, See Your Future this month, Denzel showed us his inner battles, and no track depicted this struggle better than Angels. While April had a ton of competition with legends like Pusha T and Billy Woods releasing some of their best albums, the best song of the month is the soul-healing PG Baby from Red Veil, which between the self-produced instrumental to Red Veil's triumphant present, this track is already a classic. For the month of May, we have Kendrick Lamar's The Heart Part 5. Now, with Kendrick releasing Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers this month, there was a lot of competition, mainly just between Kendrick Lamar's own songs, but out of all of the great moments he delivered this month, The Heart Part 5 remains not just the most powerful from this period, but of his entire career. For the month of June, we have Lupe Fiasco's On Faxnem. Speaking out against the destruction the music industry and media causes, the outro track of Lupe's Drill Music in Zion is one of the most thought-provoking tracks that's been released all decade. For the month of July, we have Joey Badass's Survivor's Guilt. Serving as the emotional centerpiece of Joey Badass's entire career, Survivor's Guilt is the long-awaited letter to Capital Steez that fans have been waiting for 10 years to listen to, and it hit on every emotional string you could have ever imagined. Long live Stilo. For the month of August, all jokes aside, we have the self-titled track, God Did, and here Jay-Z, Rick Ross, and Lil Wayne just absolutely murdered their parts. These three verses that they spit are heavenly, and obviously Jay-Z was the star of the show with a 4-minute long verse over the angelic production, and this is why God Did is hands down the best song of August. For the month of September, we have Freddie Gibbs' Grandma's Stove. Now, September was filled with a ton of memorable tracks, but out of everything that was released, Freddie Gibbs' Grandma's Stove stood out better than the rest due to Gibbs' vulnerable performance, which challenged everything we knew about the Gary, Indiana rapper. And for the month of October, we have Science Class. Teaming Westside Gunn and his Griselda running mate Stove God cooks up with Wu-Tang's Ghostface Killah and Raekwon, along with Busta Rhymes all over Swizz Beatz production. Science Class is an instant classic and one of the best posse cuts hip-hop has seen in a very long time. Now, for the month of November, you will have to wait till the next episode of the series, which will be coming very soon. Now, the last thing I want to do before we go is hand out flowers to two legends of hip-hop culture. Consider this segment of the show a Lifetime Achievement Awards section where we will honor legendary artists and people who have helped shape hip-hop into what it is today. Now, the first person I want to honor is DJ Drama, who even decades into his career has been so active, with this month alone doing entire Gangsta Grillz projects with the likes of Snoop Dogg, Jeezy, and NBA Youngboy, which just in itself, that range of artists is insane. In addition to these three, Drama also appeared on Westside Gunn's 10, and to make things even crazier, Drama actually followed me on Instagram earlier in this month. If this doesn't tell you enough, Drama eats, sleeps, and breathes hip-hop culture. I mean, he owes the rap game nothing at this point. He's already released projects with everyone, including but not limited to Pharrell Williams, Lil Wayne, Meek Mill, Fabulous, 2 Chainz, Freddie Gibbs, Nipsey Hussle, Childish Gambino, and the list goes on for so long. I mean, just type in DJ Drama Gangsta Grillz projects, you will be shocked by the amount of artists DJ Drama has done records with. Just in the past 2 years alone, Drama narrated Dreamville's D-Day mixtape, and he made a Gangsta Grillz album with Tyler the Creator with Call Me If You Get Lost, and they literally won a Grammy for that. Drama just keeps leveling up. So listen, let's all take a moment and just clap it up for DJ Drama. This guy is a legend, and hip-hop would not be the same without him. And speaking of names that hip-hop wouldn't be the same without, the next person we'll be giving our flowers to is the one, the only, Nardwuar the Human Servite. Now, somehow this week, I had the chance to FaceTime Nardwuar, thanks to my friend Ethan, shout out to him. I think everybody knows Nardwuar, but if you don't, he is the most funny, loving, and detailed interviewer ever. I mean, Nardwuar is so good at digging up information, a lot of people think he's a Fed, but just to name a few people he's interviewed over the years, he's sat down with Drake, Jay-Z, Tyler the Creator, A$AP Rocky, Mac Miller, Travis Scott, Kendrick Lamar, and the list goes on. I mean, you can literally type in Nardwuar and any other name of an artist, and he will probably have an interview with them. Now, just to set up this story real quick, we're going to go back a few nights ago. I'm walking at the train station and I hear my phone buzzing in my pocket. I see my friend Ethan's FaceTiming me, so I pick up the phone and what do I see? Boom. Fucking Nardwuar is saying what up to me. Now, this was one of those moments where life just felt like a straight dream, and for about 3 or 4 minutes, I just talked on the phone to Nardwuar. When I answered the phone, the first thing he said was doot 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 doot, and he was just waiting for me to say doot doot, and literally he did that like 10 times. Like, he was having so much fun, and I was having so much fun. I was just screaming it on the top of my lungs. Like, it was truly one of the best one of the best experiences I've just ever had, being around in the music world. My friend told Nardwuar what I did, so Nardwuar actually said, he was like, I am with Fantastic Hip Hop, and just hearing Nardwuar echo my name, my channel's name, it was insane. It just felt surreal. I told Nardwuar that he's inspired me and he's really helped me come into my own as a creator, and he said that's amazing and that my energy inspires him to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm just baffled by all of this. Bro, he's just so nice. He was just so nice. This guy does not owe me anything. My friend saw Nardwuar, and Nardwuar literally said, let's FaceTime your friend. Nardwuar, you can see right here, you can see in the photos, Nardwuar was literally posing on the street just so I can get pictures of him on my phone. I just want to say, thank you, Nardwuar. Thank you for pushing the boundaries of journalism and entertainment, and thank you for giving me and fans the same energy that you give to names like J. Cole, Lizzo, and Harry Styles. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the Fantastic Hip Hop Show. Let me know your thoughts on the albums I reviewed, the best songs of each month list, and also share any cool experiences you have about Nardwuar or DJ Drama in the comments below. I would love to hear anything you have to say related to ever meeting them or just enjoying their music and work. Thank you all for the recent support. It truly means the world. Be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. We got a lot more stuff coming on the way, and December is near, and that means the end of the year lists are coming. Mr. Fantastic, Fantastic Hip Hop, signing out. Have a great day.